All right, welcome back, Light Up Literature family. Today's video is on using commas with complex sentences. And we're going to use the mnemonic device, AAAWUBBIS, to help us figure out some of those subordinating conjunctions. All right, so AAAWUBBIS. So write this down, pause the screen, and write this down. These are some of the most common. Is it all of them? No, but it is the most common subordinating conjunctions, which is what you use when you're creating complex sentences. So after, although, as, when, while, until, before, because, if, and since. Now, if your sentence begins with one of these words, you're starting it as a dependent clause, and it can't stand by itself. So you're going to have to use a comma. So look at this example. Although it was raining, comma, we still played outside. So since we started with that, we have to have that comma right there after raining. If we don't start the sentence with one of those words, or start the sentence with an independent clause or a complete sentence, then you don't even have to use the comma. That's perfect, right? One less thing to do. So let's dive a little deeper on this. When do we use the comma? If the dependent clause comes first, like in this first example, because I was tired, comma, I went to bed early. Now, if we start with the independent clause, I went to bed early because I was tired. See, since we started with the independent clause, no comma needed. One less thing to have to deal with. All right, now this is a good chart. Either take a screenshot or pause the video and write these down. Write these examples down. That way you can see side by side how this works, and you have solid examples for whenever you're working on your homework or just practicing in general. All right, let's keep going. Quick recap. While we were at the park, comma, we played basketball because we have our dependent clause, so then we have to add our comma and have our independent clause. Now, some common mistakes. So, since it was late, I went to bed. We don't have a comma there. Since is one of our AAAWUBBIS words. And then we have, I went to bed because it was late. Well, I went to bed. If I walk up to you and say, I went to bed, that's a complete sentence. We're not adding a comma when we add our dependent clause. We don't need it. So here are the answers, or the sentences corrected. Since it was late, comma, I went to bed. Our second sentence is correct now. I went to bed because it was late. No need for a comma. Now, here's our final challenge. You've got some practice ones to take a look at. So pause the video, look at these individually, and when you're ready, unpause the video and check your answers. All right, answers. After we finished dinner, comma, we watched a movie. We started with a dependent clause, so we add our comma. Because he forgot his homework, comma, he had to stay after school. Again, we started with a dependent clause, so we have to have our comma. Number 3, the teacher called on someone else before she could answer. That one's already correct. We're good to go. The teacher called on someone else. That's a complete sentence. Before she could answer is our dependent clause. No comma needed. Excellent. All right, number 4, if you don't study, comma, you might fail the test. So we have our dependent clause and then our comma. And then our last one, my friend threw me a surprise party since it was my birthday. Well, since we started with the independent clause, my friend threw me a surprise party, we do not need a comma there. So we've got rid of that and put no comma needed. All right, let's do a quick recap of what we've worked on today. We've got our AAAWUBBIS words: after, although, as, when, while, until, because, before, if, and since. Remember, if you start with a dependent clause, you're going to use a comma. If you start with an independent clause, you don't need a comma. Makes your life a lot easier to remember these small rules. All right, if you have practice, go ahead. If you're in my class, go ahead and go to your curriculum and work out your practices. If you need practice, visit lightUpLiterature.com, and we've got tons of practices that you can use there. So, until next time, be safe, healthy, and happy, and I will see you in the next video.